7. Okay. And their problems. Right. So we are heading towards after David's time. Okay. So 1000 BC. Okay, onwards. Just remember, King David's around 1000 BC. That helps as a guide to move forward. So the split takes place around 900 something. The split between the two nations, northern and southern. Okay, Tirzah was the first capital, and then followed by Samaria. Okay, Samaria was set up by this king called Omri, a general in the army, whose son, which we will be looking at in more detail, is this guy, the infamous Ahab. Okay, son of Omri, military general. So the son obviously was a military man as well, like his father, and he builds up Samaria and develops the royal residence at Jezreel. Okay. Jezreel is a town which was set up with a palace, a royal palace. There was another palace in Tirzah which went down through the because of the assassination attempt, and so there were some assassination attempts before Omri came along. Now Omri's existence in the historical canon is unquestioned because we have extra biblical evidence for his existence outside of Israel. Okay, we talk about Omri. So the house of Omri, we call it house of Omri. But when Ahab comes into power, sometime in around 800 something BC, we see this whole guys, the Syrians, or in those days known as the Arameans, okay, which initiate what is then known as the Syro-Ephraimite war. A long drawn out war between the guys here, the Arameans or Syrians today as we call them, between them and the northern country of Israel, also given the name Ephraim, right? Ephraim is usually a synonym, another word for that. And the battleground that which a lot of the battles take place is in the eastern place called Gilead, right? So another famous place for this Syro-Phoenician flashpoint in military parlance is this place called Ramoth Gilead. We heard in our last lesson about Jabesh Gilead, but this is Ramoth Gilead. It's different, right? But they're all in that same region of Gilead. So we've covered our pre-canonical prophets in our syllabus is number 1 Moses, number 2 Samuel. Now we're headed to our third prophet, which is Elijah. Okay. So Samuel is the guy who sets up the monarchy in Israel. Then there's some liberal scholars who talk about that a little bit and say that he wanted to because he wanted to preserve the worship of YHWH and so on. But when Elijah, the third person, the third prophet we are looking at, comes onto the scene, he comes from this area in Gilead, in this place called Tishbe, Tishbe, maybe a small little town in that Gilead area. He's a Jew, okay? I mean, he's a Hebrew. And he goes up to Samaria and he calls the king into question. Okay? He criticizes Ahab on many occasions. From his wife offering, dining together with 400 something prophets, to him introducing idolatry into the nation, to him, doing different things, various things, and we're going to look at some of the stories that Elijah does with Ahab, and we'll look at the effect of that onto Israel itself. So God raises up this man Elijah, and Elijah is one of the greatest Old Testament prophets because he is known to have done a lot of miracles with great signs and wonders. Because the argument, even in divinity, is whether Moses did more. Okay, Moses had 10 plagues, waters open, manna from heaven, all kinds of amazing things. Elijah could not do that, right? The most Elijah did was to call down fire from heaven. Okay, and we're going to look at this story today. And also, he prayed that there will be no rain for 3 years, and there was no rain for 3 years. Okay, so let's look at the life of Elijah a little bit more. Now, Elijah, over and above these two other prophets in our syllabus, okay, there's the pre-exilic here. Okay, 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is Hosea, Amos, Isaiah, and Jeremiah. Now these two guys are in Judah, and these two guys are in Israel. Okay, and Amos was from the south, from Judah, but he went up north to Israel to prophesy, and he was chased away by one of the guys, saying, "Go back to Judah, right? Don't come and disturb us here." But the northern and the southern difference between these two countries is important to know, especially in a certain particular period of Israel history from 900 something to 722 BC. Okay, so but let's look at this first. This is even before the exilic period eventually. These are all the guys who are saying, look, it's going to be an exile. Especially these guys are much later, right? This guy is around 700 something BC. This guy is about 600 something BC. Lived 100 years apart. Okay, Isaiah and Jeremiah. Hosea and Amos, however, lived about contemporary. They live around 700 something BC as well, along with Isaiah, right? So they could have been contemporaries, perhaps, right? But we'll get to them later. But we'll look at Elijah first. Now Elijah was living in a time 800 something BC, and Elijah, he more than Samuel. So for example, Samuel is the last judge of Israel, and after him, it's all kings. Okay, we see that even in the time of David, after Samuel had died, David also had prophets. Okay, David had one of the famous prophets during David's time is what? What's his name? Yes, Nathan. You know Nathan? Huh? Who's Nathan? Oh, you know another guy called Nathan, right? So Nathan was a famous prophet who actually called out David for his sin, right? And David was David was of course quite shocked that Nathan knew. But Nathan was a prophet, so he could see and he knew he was a prophet. And also later on we see that Nathan was instrumental in establishing Solomon as the king. He worked together with Bathsheba and they set up Solomon to be the king. David had quite a number of sons, right, through his many wives, but not as many as Solomon's wife. Then we don't know very much about Solomon's reign apart from one or two isolated prophets, Ahijah, coming to speak about Solomon's sin, right, in worshipping other gods. And but after Solomon and Rehoboam began and Jeroboam began, we still have random prophets coming in to speak into the lives of these kings, but they would only kind of come in and say a few words and then after that they leave. Like for example, just now when we learned about the 2 altars, okay, there was a prophet who came and spoke against the altar, right? He said that one day a king called Josiah will come and destroy these altars, which in actual fact, in historical fact, actually happened, right? But one prophet, prophesied in 900 BC that a king during around the time of about 600 BC, 300 years later, will come and destroy the altar. And what he did was Jeroboam was offering sacrifices on his Bethel altar here in Bethel. And to make matters a little bit more cutting is that Bethel used to be the place where Abraham offered sacrifices to God, and then followed by Jacob, where he had the Jacob's ladder experience. He went to this place, which was then later known as Bethel, but originally known as Luz, right? A city called Luz. And he was there and he was running away from his brother. He had stolen his brother's firstborn blessing, right? He had negotiated for the birthright. He took two things from his brother. One was the birthright, and one was the blessing. Okay, both also he took. And he obviously the brother was not very happy. Like Esau was not very happy about that. So he's like, I'm gonna kill you, right? So Jacob ran for his life, and he came to Luz, and he camped out there for that night. It was a nice, I don't know, stone area or whatever that he could sleep. Took a stone, put it under his head, and slept. Or yeah. And that night he dreamt of a portal, okay, opening, and all these angels going up through the portal to the throne of God, and he was just going up the staircase or whatever, and he was so shocked. The next morning he woke up, he said, my goodness, this is the portal, right, of God, or this a gateway, and this is the house of God, Beth. Beth is house. So Beth Lehem. So Lehem is bread. So Beth Lehem is house of bread. So Beth Shemesh, Beth Pesh, Beth Ani, Beth Thesda. All the BETH is all house. Okay? So El is God. So Jacob said, I'm going to call this place Bethel. And later on, after Jacob had been away for about 14 years working under Laban, he came back now with a huge family now, and he came all the way back to Bethel, the same place, and he renewed his promise to God. He promised right at the young man, when he was young, when he was setting out on his journey, he promised to God and said that, God, if you keep me safe and you grant me success, I will come back here and I will renew my vow and will worship you, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as the God of El Elyon, God Most High. At the time they still didn't know his name. Okay, so they just called him God Most High. Okay, El Elyon. So he said, I'll come back and I'll worship you. My whole family will worship you. So they went to the land of where his mother came from, Laban's area, and then he of course met Rachel, fell in love with Rachel. Worked there for 7 years, and he got tricked for another 7 years. Worked there for another 7. And while all these years was going along, they will have plenty of time for children, right? The complications of the internal squabbles, like Hong Kong drama, and then eventually ended up with like 8 or 10 kids, right? So brings all of them down back to Bethel, and at Bethel makes a commitment: put away all your idols, right? The Rachel and the girls were all worshipping idols, right? Including Laban, who Jacob worked for. But Jacob in his heart was worshipper of El. Anyway, he comes with the whole family down to Bethel and says, this is where Papa, met with God, and I saw a vision of a ladder, and all the angels. So we're going to renew our commitment. And the whole family, all the kids and the 2 wives and the servant ladies and all that, they all, renewed their covenant with El Elyon. Made a sacrifice. Okay? Build up an altar and make a sacrifice. And since we're talking about that, we're going to talk about that in Elijah's story. Talking about altars. Okay, but anyway, after he set that up in Bethel, the prophet came to prophesy against Bethel, right? And now Bethel was used by King Jeroboam as an official worship center, just like Jerusalem. So everybody in that whole vicinity will come to Bethel, and you offer sacrifices. Anyway, but those were the prophets prior to Elijah. And but eventually, when Ahab came along, there was this one single prophet that did more than all the other prophets before him. Okay, including Samuel. Right? Samuel was very accurate. That means, from a personal level, he would say, okay, your wife's got a problem, or your sheep is gone, disappeared, whatever. He can tell you very specific individual information. But Elijah was concerned about the national apostasy that was taking place under the rule and the reign of Ahab. Now, based on our discussion just now in our previous lesson, we are like, but then, what Jeroboam did was really bad already, isn't it? He built up this thing, and it's so clear and obvious to us looking back now that he went against the commandments, right? He built up the altars and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is that as we also discussed using some examples, is that from our perspective, the error doesn't seem so serious. Okay, even for us, I don't want to pick on the Catholics here, but even for Protestants, right? When we address issue about, let's say, wealth and the grace theology problem, or the teachings of Joel Osteen and things like that, you know, we say, yeah, it's a bit off, but it's not like life and death, right? We don't think it's life and death. Okay. In fact, even okay, to be fair, no, when you talk about Catholicism, I don't even say that it's life and death. I mean, if you're a Catholic, you're gonna die, that kind of thing. I don't even say that, right? Some do, some within the Protestant community. But in those days as well, these guys did not take it that serious, right? But there was one guy, Elijah, who felt that this was very serious. He felt that Ahab, who had married a non-Jew, a non-Hebrew, by the name of Jezebel, who's from Tyre, up north here in Sidon and Tyre. These are two Gentile cities up in the north, port cities. And Jezebel was a Sidonian priestess's daughter. Alright? Her father was a priest in a town or city of Sidon. How Ahab got to know her, I don't know, but he married her. And she introduced Baal, the worship of Baal and Asherah into Israel on a formal basis. Whereas in the past, the people were just worshipping here. Okay? And some good kings, to be fair to the northern country, they did wipe out all other gods, right? We had a whole list of all the Canaanite gods, right? Okay, gods with small. So you got Molech, you got Baal, you got El, you got Asherah, you got Dagon. The Babylonians one is Marduk. The Assyrians one are different names, right? But you got the standard ones here. It is 5. And some of the Israelite kings, they wiped out all these ones. They say, no, we only worship this God. Okay? God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But we offer sacrifices at these 2 altars. Golden calves. Okay? They offer their burnt offerings. They offer their whatever offerings there. But when Ahab came along, he married, Jezebel. And Jezebel introduced or made official Baal worship and Asherah worship. How? She killed all prophets of YHWH. And she had dinner with these Baal and Asherah prophets every single day. Meaning she was also feeding them from the country's money, right? So she would have a dinner for them, Asherah prophets and Baal prophets. Now, Asherah and Baal, Asherah is supposed to be the consort of El. Okay? Asherah is the female deity who is supposed to be like the concubine of El. El is supposed to be like Zeus, the chief god. And Baal is supposed to be one of the gods who actually challenges El and defeats El. Okay? So you go to Baal for your rain, okay? Because Baal is generally known as the storm god. Then you're like, wait, it's confusing. You say El is like Zeus, but Zeus is the god of thunder, right? So then you say Baal is now god of thunder. So who is El, right? Well, the Canaanites have a slightly different take on it. So the Egyptians, the Indians, the Greeks, the Chinese, maybe even, right? All have this pantheon of gods, right? This whole pantheon, which is a whole collection. Pan is all, theon is God, and then on is, because it goes pantheos, right? But pantheon means all the gods, the whole collection of gods. Now, the Indians have 300 million, the Greeks, I don't know. Anybody know how many gods there are in the entire Greek pantheon? There's some people who they have the whole catalogue, right? The Babylonians have a whole catalogue of gods, the Assyrians have a whole catalogue, god of this, goddess of mercy, goddess of beauty, goddess of speed, goddess of war, god of this, god of what, The Romans also have theirs, like Jupiter, Mars, Venus, all the planets that we call, Saturn, all these are the names of gods, right? And so on. So, but for these guys, Baal is a storm god, right? Asherah is a fertility god. So you go to Asherah's temple if you cannot have children. You go to Baal if it's not raining. Okay? okay, and your crops are dying, heat wave, right? So you go and pray to Baal. El is like the guy up there, you know, this old man on a cloud, whatever it is. Okay, so Jezebel was entertaining all these prophets of Baal and Asherah, and there was a Baal temple and there was an Asherah temple, and all the prophets of YHWH were all, you know, keeping their heads low, right? We know from the biblical account in Kings is that there was a guy called Obadiah, right, who shielded all these prophets and kept them in a cave, almost 100 of them, kind of like pastors, you know, shielding all these pastors and putting them in a cave, 51 cave, 50 another cave, and he would take water and give them and sustain them, just like Jezebel was sustaining, you know, 400 Baal prophets and 450 Asherah prophets, 850 people in a big hall every single night, not cheap food, okay, that she sustains them. And then this Obadiah, who's also in the king's household, some kind of steward or something, was secretly providing food, maybe the leftovers from all these guys, you know, and packing them in bags or, you know, bundles or whatever, and then going to these caves and feeding all this. You see the contrast between the who are rich dining and eating and all that, and then you see this guy going to 50, and all these prophets are all starving and shivering and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then you got this one single lone guy who's also a prophet of YHWH, who goes up to Ahab and Jezebel and he says this. He says, because you, Ahab, have caused, you have brought in idol worship, I'm going to pray to God to stop the rain, based on the Deuteronomy passage. Because in the Deuteronomy passage it says, if you worship other gods, the gods of the people around you, God will hold up the rain, cause the skies to be like bronze, so that there will be no rain that will come upon your land. So Elijah invoked that, because, you know, Deuteronomy is supposedly to have been written how many, 1,200 or 1,400, that's almost like 600 to 700 years before. And he invokes that and says, because you are worshipping idols and you are marrying a woman who is allowing 850 prophets to worship these two idols that God detests and hates, right? I'm going to pray for, you know, the skies to be shut up for 3.5 years. Now it's important, why? Because, you know, he knew God, right? Elijah knew the heart of God. God loves to prove us humans to be wrong and stupid, right? Because when we worship all our gods, right, we think, oh, this God will help me. You know, Guan Yin will give me safety, right? You know, or this God, this particular God, Allah will give me, you know, meaning and stuff like that, right? God purposely loves to prove us wrong, okay? Prove that the God that we rely on is actually wrong, okay? How do we know this? We saw this in Exodus when Moses tells the Pharaoh about 10 plagues, right? So you've got the frogs, you've got the locusts, you've got all these things, right? And these were the different gods of Egypt. One of them was the sun god Ra, or Re, right? Sun god Ra. Which plague was the one that God used to, you know, the ninth plague, where there was no sun at all over the entire land of Egypt, but there was sun in Goshen, right? So I mean, whether it was just nice a coincidental eclipse, you know, of the sun or whatever it is, we don't know. Okay, we were not alive during that time to kind of use scientific instruments or whatever. But according to the story is real and true. The whole land of Egypt was in darkness, and God is like saying, okay lah, you go and pray to your sun god lah. You go and pray to your Ra lah. Turn on the light lah. See who is stronger lah. You know, it almost seems that way. Moses is saying there would be no sun. You go and you have plenty of time to pray to your Ra lah. Go and pray to your Ra lah. Right? Go and ask him to turn on the light lah if you don't like the thing. And really true enough, there were 3 days, I think about a few days, not just a few hours. It was a few days without light. Okay? So God has this habit of showing up all these so-called gods, okay, of the people, and showing to them that all these things are failures and useless, right? So Elijah picks up on that and he says to Ahab, okay, I'm going to pray that your skies will be dry. I mean, there won't be any rain for 3.5 years. To show how king your Baal is. And if Baal is so great, you go and pray to Baal and you ask Baal to give you your storm, to give you your rain. Huh? And true enough, 3.5 years, famine. The Baal couldn't save them. So, but the thing is, the saddest part about it is that nobody turned their hearts back to Christ. I mean, you get some guy coming along and says, okay, I predict because let's really come close to home since we're talking about Malaysia here. Let's say a random guy, some prophet Jaden, let's say. You know, it comes from don't know where, right? So, I'm Prophet Jaden, and I come sent by God, the Almighty God, right? Yahweh has sent me. Then you're like, then he says this. He says, you Malaysian Christians, you're worshipping other gods. You're worshipping the gods of money, prestige, reputation, internet, smartphones, Facebook, Twitter, foosball, and you're prostrating yourself at these altars, and I will be judged. Okay? So from now onwards, I declare from this day forward until 3 years from now, there will be no more Twitter. You can't access your Twitter. You can't access your Facebook. You can't play foosball. All the foosball balls will disappear, and all the tables will just not work, right? And whatever else okay, whatever else, your money, Malaysian currency will go down, and all the shopping centers will all be filled with disease, and things like that, right? 3.5 years, and all these Christians are like, okay, what are we supposed to do now, right? Now we can't go shopping, we can't go Mid Valley, we can't play foosball, we can't go on Twitter, right? So annoying, right? Does that make them turn back to God? Will that make you turn back to God? I mean, on the surface of it, you already know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially this guy's like, don't know who, from don't know where, Prophet Jaden. Who is he? And that's exactly the case of Elijah. Nobody knows who he is. Where is he from? Suddenly goes out and says, all you people, sin. You have a sin. So, I'm going to do this. Nobody asked him to do it. But God heard his prayer. He was right. He prayed, God listened to him because what he said was true. There are all these people worshipping all the other gods, right? Relying on other things apart from God for their fulfillment. So, 3.5 years later, everybody is suffering. Okay? Ahab doesn't have any more water around or grass, green grass for his horses, right? He's looking, he and this other Obadiah is walking around the land, trying to find the last piece of green grass to feed the king's horses. Ahab was a military man, right? Like his father. And lots of chariots, lots of horses, right? So, but his horses are all dying of thirst. Okay. So, what's going to happen? So, Elijah says, okay. Everybody hates Elijah, right? I can't access Twitter. I can't play my football. This Jaden guy, right? I just can't do it. All the go anywhere, go everywhere, find a football there, and it just doesn't work. Okay, there's no balls, but we have not had balls for the last 3 years. I don't know where the balls went. Whenever we buy a big ball, it disappears. So things like that, right? And our money just keeps going down. Our exchange rate, we can't go overseas, right? We can't study anywhere because the exchange rate is so bad. Everybody's hating Jaden, right? Everybody hates Elijah, right? Those of you follow my Instagram, but anyway. So Elijah then goes to see the king and he says, okay, let's have a competition. The king's like, you know how much everybody in this whole country of Israel hate you right now? Right? Elijah's like, well, you guys you've been breaking the commandments, right? You've been worshipping all these other gods. So then Elijah said, okay, bring your 400 prophets of Baal and 450 prophets of Asherah. Meet me on Mount Carmel. Okay, Mount Carmel is up here. Okay, it's an outcropping of that's facing the Mediterranean Sea. It's beautiful. It's not very high. I've actually been on Mount Carmel. It's quite cool. It's a flat kind of feast with lots of rocks around, lots of rocks, and you can see the Mediterranean Sea from Mount Carmel, right? So Elijah picks the place, right? He says, okay, go there from Samaria, not too far away, right? From Samaria, and go to Carmel, and we're going to have a showdown, right? So call the people of Israel. So 2,000 people show up. That's not too bad. That's quite a good number, right? So all these officials and all these people, all from the northern kingdom of Israel show up. And then there are 400 prophets of Baal, and Jezebel stays and tells these Asherah prophets to not go. So all the Asherah prophets, 450 of them, don't show. From Feke lah, they all stay in Jezreel. Yay. But 400 prophets of Baal went to Carmel. Okay, so 400 prophets are there. Maybe Jezebel said, how are you going to feed all the prophets up there in Carmel? Carmel's so small, how are you going to feed it up there? Okay, we'll just send the prophet Baal. Maybe she was not sure what he's going to do there, maybe he's going to do something. So they might ask Ahab to go along. So Ahab went to the mountain. And on Carmel, Elijah is there, the prophets of Baal are there, the 2,000 people are there, Ahab is there. Okay, so Elijah says, and everybody's like, this is the troublemaker. This prophet Elijah is the one who caused all the problems in our country. Okay, what is he going to do? So Elijah says, how long will you switch from one God to another? If Yahweh is God, worship Him. Okay, if Baal is God, worship Him. So today is the conclusive test to find out which God is truly God. YHWH or Baal. Now the thing is, in the English translation, it's not so clear. You see, in the English translation, it is which is God, the Lord or Baal. You know what I mean? It's just But in the Hebrew, it's very clear YHWH, right? So it's the name of God. Okay. So anyway, so everyone just kept silent. All the people, is it who's the real God here? Is it YHWH or is it Baal? And everybody just kept quiet. Okay. So Elijah said, okay, fine. Okay, let's have our little thing. Okay, what we're gonna do is each side of us, me representing YHWH and the 400 prophets of Baal, we will each offer sacrifice to our respective gods. And the God who answers by fire, he is God. Okay? Everybody said yes, that sounds good. Bad. Okay? So then Elijah said, since you Baal fellas are so many, you'll start first lah. Okay, so Baal fellas, yeah, no problem, we 400, like only one fella, anytime also can kill you, no problem, right? So they start lah, right? So they start maybe about 8 or 9 in the morning, and then they start they kill the ox and put it there on the altar. They set up a big altar. There are 400 of them. That's quite a lot of people, right? That's almost the entire 1601 batch, right? The full auditorium full of prophets, right? All helping out here and there. Set up the prophets on the altar, and everyone's doing their little thing. Then by 12 o'clock, 3 hours later, still nothing. No fire from heaven. Nothing. The land is as dry as a tin box, right? And Elijah's watching, and everybody's watching. Everybody's sitting down, fanning themselves. So Elijah's thinking, that's tea. And all these guys are like, then he stands up and he's like, he starts to taunt them. He stands up and he says, hey, come on guys, what's going on, man? Like really egging them out. It's like, maybe your God is traveling, or maybe he's in the toilet, right? In the version it says maybe he is relieving himself, right? Maybe he's bangsai, he's shitting, right? So he can't answer your request, right? Wow, really mocking them, Elijah. So really being trash talking them, like, come on guys, you got so many of you, maybe you should start slashing yourself, because they actually do have some of this slashing kind of thing. Maybe you should start slashing yourselves, right, to get his attention, because you can't seem to get his attention, right? All of them are like one further, so never mind, we will whack this guy later. So they all take out their swords. The blood flowing, God, listen to our bride, blah, 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 blah. 3 hours later, still nothing. So from 12 to 3, after slashing themselves like lambs about to be slaughtered, they were bleeding, they were tired, and still nothing. 6 hours of prayer, okay, walking around and slashing themselves is quite tiring, I'm sure. And so Elijah at 3 p.m. He stands up, still nothing. The skies are as blue as sapphire. Okay. He gets up. Says, okay, enough. You guys sit down. Okay, everyone sit down. Okay, rest. Now my turn. Okay. So he sets up an altar. Okay, with 12 stones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or thereabouts. Okay. Then he puts some wood. He puts the ox, right? He digs a trench around the altar, and then he gets.
Was he a Levite?
We don't know. He's from Tibet. Nobody knows which tribe he's from. Okay. Then he gets water. Some people to bring water don't know where he got water from, right? Very difficult. Maybe seawater. Maybe seawater. Okay. Right. And they poured it over the sacrifice 3 times until the whole trench was filled with water. Okay. But maybe undrinkable water lah. Okay. Maybe seawater. Okay. So the whole sacrifice is drenched. Then he just makes one simple prayer. Oh, YHWH, right? I have done everything that you have told me to do. Please show to the people. Please demonstrate. Okay? Fire came down from everywhere. Burn up everything. Okay? Including the rocks. All burned up. All charred, all burned up. Everybody all everybody in shock. And then when they saw it, they started bowing down and saying, Yahweh is God. YHWH is God. YHWH is God. 2,000 people saw it with their very own eyes, according to the story. Fire coming down from heaven, burning up this sacrifice. And they all just, what do we just see? Okay. Then Elijah takes this opportunity and he says, kill the Baal prophets! And all these 2,000 people are going to rush in, take the knives that were used just now by the Baal prophets themselves and slash them and kill them. Right? 400 prophets died just like that. Or even better, I think to be more accurate, they caught all of them and brought them down to the Kidron River and slaughtered them. So the blood all flowed in the river. Right? Then, as if that was not good enough, okay, so obviously like, oh, yeah, please go, right? Then, they're all scattered and Ahab is like, don't know what he's doing. Seriously, he's trying to like, okay, guys, it's alright, it's okay, like let's just stay cool and things like that. Now Elijah goes up further to a small little upcrop and he begins to pray. He puts his head between his knees like this, like a crouching position. And he begins to pray and pray and pray and pray. And then he tells his assistant, he's got a little assistant, right, with him, and he says, go and see the sea, right? So his servant goes out to see the sea, and he sees nothing, right? There's nothing there. So Elijah says, okay, what do you see? He says, I don't see anything, okay? And he says, go back again. So he's praying all this while, praying. 7 times he goes back. On the 7th time, the servant sees something. He sees a cloud the size of a man's hand, about this size, right? Coming up from the sea, from the Mediterranean. And he comes up to Elijah and says, boss, I saw a cloud the size of a man's hand. And Elijah gets up from his crouching position and says, go and tell Ahab, get into your chariot and get home because the rain is coming. Okay? So the servant is like, oh, okay. So he quickly goes to Ahab, who's like, I don't know what, and it's like, Your Majesty, Elijah says you must get into your horse and chariot quickly, or else the rain will come and you get stuck. Okay? So Ahab's like, sure, 3 years and a half, no rain. Okay? So, but never mind, he just saw Elijah call down fire from heaven. He didn't want to get burned, right? So he's like, quickly, and right back. After all, he's going back anyway. So he rides all the way back to Jezreel, which is where's his palace. And while he's riding on a horse, right? He's a military man, he's got horses, he's got a chariot, he's riding, the only guy with a chariot probably. Suddenly, beside him, Elijah is running faster than the horse! And he's running like that all the way down, all the way down to Jezreel. That's at least 30-40 km. A full tilt marathon run, which a marathon runner today can do, right? You get those Nigerian fellas, right? Get them on the marathon, 40 km, run full tilt. You see how the marathon runners are, the professionals are. They run like that one, not like us jogging. You are running one, okay? So Elijah was full tilt running all the way, okay? The Bible tells us he was filled with the Spirit, right? He ran past Ahab and the horse, and then the rain came. Okay, now that's the drama part. Okay? That's all the wow part. Okay, that's the nice little Sunday school story that we got. Some of us may have had the Sunday school story. I don't know. Minus the king. Oh, then Elijah disposed of the prophets in the Kidron River. Maybe that's your version. But he was. Okay. Anyway, so Ahab gets back to Jezreel, and he reports to his wifey. Goes back into the palace. His hands are bloody, and he's tired, and there's some bit wet from the rain. The wife's like, so how did you go? She says, well, Elijah what? Elijah killed the foreigner. What? You did? You what? And then she's like, throw a leopard, throw this thing in the dressing table. You idiot! Is it? Elijah forced us to do it, right? All the people gang up against us, and the 2,000 of them. So what can I do, right? Just felt like, you idiot, you stupid. Then she releases a message, and then this is what Ahab says. And he ran ahead of me to Jezreel, so he's here. Elijah is here in Jezreel. So Jezebel was so mad. She released. Okay, make this announcement to the town crier. Make this announcement or tweet this, right? Make this announcement. Let the gods do to me as severely if I do not do to Elijah what he did to my prophets. So the guy comes up there.
Hear ye, this is the decree of the queen. Queen Jezebel has said that may the gods do to her as severely if she does not do to Elijah what he did to the servants of Baal. Hear ye, right?
Message goes out. One of Elijah's friends in Jezreel itself saying, hey, there's a message. Then one of them run in. He said, hey, they're hunting for you. They want to kill you. Queen Jezebel wants to kill. Then Elijah, who is now so tired, exhausted, and all that kind of stuff, right? He gets up, calls his servant. Let's get out of here. Okay, at night, they run for their lives from Jezreel. And they run from Jezreel down to Judah. Okay, and Judah, he asked his servant to stay here. One of the cities in Judah, I can't remember where. And then he runs on his own into the desert. He is frightened, he is afraid, he's disillusioned. Why? Yeah, he was going to die. And to make matters worse, his great achievement on the mountain of Carmel made not a single difference at all. Okay, Kara is like, oh, really? Okay, so he's camping out now in a little kind of rock enclosure, all alone in the middle of the desert, and he prays to God, I am no different from my ancestors. Wow, that is a very, very descriptive, telling statement. Why? It tells us something about Elijah. What does it say? Just that one statement, I am no different from my ancestors. What does it say? It tells you a lot of things about Elijah. And he says, God, kill me now. I want to die. Okay? I want to die. He felt he was a failure. And he said he was no different from his ancestors. What does that mean? Sorry?
His ancestors go
Yes.
Ironic? No,
Sorry? Okay, open your Bible. You got your Bible open. If you go. Turn to that passage, I think in 1 Kings. Is it 1 Kings? 1 Kings chapter 19, right? Okay, since you're there already, you can read that out to us. Tell us the story from the moment of Jezebel's pronouncement all the way to Elijah's statement.
Now Ahab told Jezebel everything Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword. So Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah to say, "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like that of one of them." Elijah was afraid and he ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there, while he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors."
Okay, so he left his servant at Beersheba in Judah, okay, just to throw off the scent. Okay. And remember, Judah and Israel were not on talking terms, they were kind of separate countries, so he's hoping that he will put as much distance as possible. Now here is Elijah, who has the power to call down fire from heaven, right, onto some pieces of rock. And he just killed like half of Jezebel's, lackeys, right? Her prophets who was like, "Oh, Jezebel live forever." He could have sent down fire on Jezebel. Okay? But here he was, cowering, shivering with fear, and hiding away in the wilderness and feeling so lost and disillusioned that he wants to die. What's going on? He says, "Let me die," right? Let me die. It is enough. He said, "Enough." Usually people who are very tired, right? And very sian. He said, "Enough! Enough! I'm so done right now." Essentially, Elijah saying, "I am so done." Right? Telling God, "I am so done." Okay? And that is Elijah. Why was he so done? He's supposed to be the greatest prophet of all, right? Why is he so done?
Was he like tried further, or was it something else?
And the clue is, I am no different from my ancestors. What is that? What does that tell you? Okay. Elijah wanted to be like another Moses. He wanted to bring the people back to the worship of YHWH, the true worship. But nobody listened. Nobody listened. And not only that, when he prayed that the sky will be shut up for 3.5 years, all that achieved was for the people to get angry. Okay? Nobody really wanted to believe in a sense. Okay, that's one. Secondly is, out of the 2,000 people there, not a single one of them stood up for him in Jezreel. When he was in Jezreel, and the king gave that message to him and said that, I'm going to kill you, right, for doing that to my prophets, nobody spoke up. All the people were still bound by fear. Elijah wanted to see national transformation. Elijah wanted to see the return of true worship. Elijah wanted to see the restoration of the worship of Yahweh in the right way, in the proper way, in the way that's according to the law. But a day after that big event, he's on the run. I think half on the time that he's running on the move, he's also thinking, right, what is this rubbish? Here am I running for my life. I'm being chased by some woman, right? He must be feeling horrible about it in that time. And he's sitting there underneath the broom tree, feeling very sorry for himself. Oh, poor me. I tried to do good. I tried to help people. I tried all these good things. But look where it has brought me. I'm running for my life. What good has that brought me? Now I'm a fugitive. Now if I go back to Israel, they're going to hunt me down and kill me. Okay? So what good is that? I prayed so long, I prayed so hard for 3.5 years, and then after that, we did that big thing on Mount Carmel, and these people still not convinced. The people are still under Jezebel, which they were. Everyone was so frightened of Jezebel, and later on we'll see that also. They were so frightened of Jezebel that nobody dared to switch sides and worship YHWH. So Elijah was feeling alone, tired, disillusioned, confused, lost. The most famous prophet of the Old Testament. Okay. Then what happens? He decides to go back to where it all started, where Moses met God on Mount Sinai. So Elijah makes a trip to Mount Sinai. He goes there where the covenant was formed, and he meets God there in Sinai. Now what happens? He goes into the cave and there is an earthquake. Okay, possible. Then there was a fire. Okay, also possible because the heat is quite bad. And then there's a huge wind. You know, and God was not in any of these things. But then there was a still small voice at the mouth of the cave, and Elijah went to the mouth of the cave, and God said, "Why are you here at Sinai?" The so-called mountain of the gods. You see, the people even in that area felt that Sinai was like a holy mountain. You know, we go there, you meet God, or whatever God. Okay, so now you know, Moses obviously went up to Sinai, and he really met God, right? The YHWH. But Elijah also went to the same mountain, Sinai, and he didn't meet God in all these big sounds. He met God in a quiet voice. God said, "Why are you here?" And Elijah said, "Well, I've been zealous." I can see, you will see a bit more of his thinking, right, when he comes. I have been zealous for YHWH. Okay? And yet Jezebel have killed off all the prophets except me. And now they are hunting me down as well. Okay? And God says, go back. Go back to Israel and do three things. Number one, anoint Elisha as your successor. Number two, anoint Jehu, who will kill Jezebel and all the other guys. And anoint Hazael, who will also do all that. So God also says, whichever that the sword of Hazael doesn't touch, Jehu will touch. Jehu will kill. And whichever the sword of Jehu doesn't kill, Elisha will kill. Am I right? What God is telling Elijah, and God's answer is also very interesting. He says this: Elijah, you try so hard to reform the nation, I send you back to anoint 3 people who will kill off everybody. You sure you got the right God, huh? You're worshipping the right God, huh? God says, I will kill off all the people. You go and anoint this first, you whack all of them. So Elijah puts off his cloak, goes back, and God says one more other thing, which I love this. He says, there have been 7,000 people who have not bowed the knee and kissed Baal. 7,000 people in Israel who have been reserved by God, but that Elijah had no knowledge of. God had reserved 7,000. So you are not alone, right? There's 7,000 people with you, right? Okay, so God is telling Elijah, look, dude, you're not the only one. Okay, there are a lot of guys out there as well who think the same way as you. So go back, do these 3 things. And Elijah only managed to do one before he died. Okay, and we're going to talk about his death on Wednesday, right? So, final concluding statements is, itu dia lah, Elijah and Elijah part 1. Tomorrow, on Wednesday we'll look at Elijah part 2. Okay, so I'll see you. Macam dah.